Request to all the participants to put their phone or their device in mute mode. So we have a very interesting topic, today evening for all the Indian audience. So Celestine is from Africa, Kenya, exactly. Sujata, your phone is, yeah, please. Thank you so much. So, Celestine, over to you. I mean, we are all waiting for you. So we have a limited time of 20 minutes for your speech, and then we have question and answer sessions. We are eager to understand your ecosystem, eager to understand, what you guys are doing, how you are actually making things happen in this challenging time, and how you are doing the business.
Okay. Thank you very much, Arijit, for inviting me to this webinar. Very excited. So what I'll be doing, I'll share my screen so that I get that out of the way. And it will make it a bit easier. Let me know if you can see my screen here. Okay.
Yeah. Sujata, your phone, please, mute mode.
So as Arijit said, my name is Celestine. I am the founder of Celestine Career Consulting. I've consulted on very different programs. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a member of the iHub Nairobi till the end of this year, and what a year it is. I'm an expert of education and skills from the World Economic Forum, member of the Facebook Community Leadership Circles, and also the Developer Circles in Nairobi. I'm very excited to share with you regarding what COVID has done, especially here in Kenya, and how as businesses we are trying to leverage probably on technology, because I'm assuming everybody is doing that in their respective places. And what my focus topic today was how businesses have pivoted in the age of COVID-19. So what I did was that I collected a few of examples, both globally and mostly how we are doing it here in Kenya, because I wanted to focus on probably what other entrepreneurs or what other brands or what other businesses are kind of like changing to kind of like navigate the hard economic times that are in store. So I think clearly everywhere we have realized that technology is going to be something that we all have to embrace, whether we like it or not, as part of our daily lives. So in Kenya, we have decided to leverage on technology that's existing, mostly because number one, it's stable. Number two, it's people know about it. Number three, it's also familiar. So the three digital strategies that most people are using or most businesses are using in Kenya at the moment is Google My Business, which entrepreneurs have realized they can use it whether they have an online presence or not. That's the advantage, and that's very peculiar in this in our region, because not everyone has got websites attached to their businesses or attached to their brands. So if they've got a physical place, Google My Business is being embraced very widely, because at least you can be found with your phone number and your location, and also your clientele would know what your opening and closing times are. Social media presence, a lot of people are currently using Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, especially to share stories, share information, share their products, especially WhatsApp business. And people have also realized that now it's very relevant for them to start having a social media strategy attached to whatever they are doing, be it a service or a product, and take it also very seriously. Not only the narrative of selling, the narrative of also giving information that is relevant to people. As a to-do list, we advise businesses to start looking at what is the immediate thing that they can do to start changing. And because every day comes with a very different problem. Like right now, before we were allowed to move out of Nairobi, and we had only curfew in the evenings. Right now, it's kind of like we are on lockdown. So people can't enter Nairobi and people can't leave out. So suddenly people are very skeptical. If we were having produce coming in from outside, for the past 2 days, there's no produce coming in. So businesses have also to change. Businesses have to see, what would I be doing differently? So the to-do list keeps on changing on a day-to-day basis. Every 2 days, the to-do list changes. So it's very important for people to start leveraging on what's happening. What I always tell entrepreneurs is there are businesses that are going to be really affected with this phase, and there are some that are going to win in the short term. So short term, I put this graph out there so that we can be able to understand which are the potential winners and which are the potential losers. Right now, aviation has been hard hit, tourism, manufacturing, somehow because people are under lockdown, construction and automotive very well affected, and the potential winners definitely are in health, food, personal health care, technology, as we said, ICT, agriculture, and e-commerce. These are winning it big at this time. But for how long will they be winning? We have no idea. How long this crisis will be lasting? We've got no idea either. So it's a matter of a playing game. Which area are you in, and which area can you start leveraging on, at least to start thinking partnerships and also thinking collaborations, if you're in the space where collaboration can be accepted. For the first time in history, we have seen all the big tech companies working together and sending out a joint statement to the world, or to people in the world globally, about working closely together to respond to this COVID-19. This is because of probably fake news and fake topics that are being spread out there, and they all have to be on the same platform. We have realized that the problem that is happening is affecting everybody globally. So it's not choosing only just one person or one country or one region. It's a global problem at this time. So when you see the whole tech companies coming together and realizing that this is a problem that affects them all jointly, you understand that it is time for it is time for us also to start thinking critically as businesses in terms of partnership and working together. Whether you had a competitor probably in the next town, how would you collaborate with them, even from within? It's time to start thinking how you can work jointly together. I have put up some few screenshots from very many different companies, both outside Kenya and in Kenya, on the future of employment. As we know, as entrepreneurs, we all have employees who are under us. How would we do it different? Facebook started when the virus had just hit by saying that they are adding $1,000 to the next paycheck, at least ensuring the employees that they are not going to be affected in terms of earnings because of this COVID-19. The next thing that I saw a screenshot someone saying is that when someone is going in for an interview and a potential future employee, what they would be asking is, what do you have as a package? What did you do for your employees during the COVID-19? So that it just assesses whether the business is serious in looking at their employees, or they're just into the capitalism of making money without caring about the employees' welfare. Then in Kenya, when I'm coming back home, one of the young people, Kenyans on Twitter, was asking, in future, what would employment contracts look like when you're an employer? How would you phrase your contracts when you're bringing in new staff? That is very crucial, especially in HR and also in recruiting people into your company. Are you looking at probably having a short-term contract or consultancy type of employment, or having an employment contract that also includes outbreaks like how COVID happened, that covers also health? It's very important. So I started focusing also on how big brands.
Hold on. Sorry to, sorry to ask you. I have a serious question on this part.
Yes,
Like you're mentioning that what will be the contract look like? What will be your
yes,
strategy to get people in? I think before COVID, we had a couple of situations where people started taking employees or team members as contract team players. The contract
yes.
maybe lasts for 6 months to 2 years to 3 years. It depends on the type of job, right? So do you feel that these things will be increasing day by day, and there will be no, I mean, there will be less number of permanent, so-called permanent job in this industry? What is your take on this?
My take is this is a disruption that was bound to come either way, with COVID or without COVID. But COVID has just hastened it in the sense that going forward, because of the uncertainty of times, employers are going to be more comfortable giving that short-term contract, because when I give you the short-term contract, it will be project by project. I have this project that needs to be done. If another project comes in, your contract is renewed. So it's going to be a situation where employees also have to kind of like put a mindset knowing that there's not going to be that a buffer of I have a permanent job, because all businesses have been seriously affected when we are looking at the catastrophe that this COVID-19 has caused. Because when you're looking even at the projections, it's indefinite. We don't know whether it's going to be a month, 2 months, or 3 months. At least, probably, it's like a hurricane in terms of health, and we've not even had the natural catastrophes happening in terms of the earthquake that happened the other day in Eastern Europe, coupled with whatever is happening right now. That news has not even been covered adequately, because the whole world is focused now on COVID-19. So I know that for sure the future is going not to be the same in terms of employment contracts.
And my friend, you have traveled almost, half of the world. I mean, I know you in person, so that I can make that statement. I have another, serious question before you go to the next slide. Uh,
Mm.
as per, understanding of a lot of other people are thinking
Mm.
that there will be a lot of migration which is going to happen maybe after a couple of months in European region, because a lot of people, they are no more, with due respect to them. So there is a
Mm.
huge vacancy that happened in Europe, as well as it's going to happen in most probably in a couple of other regions in the world. Your take on this? What's your thought process?
My thought process is that there's going to be definitely a lot of opportunities that will open up, but I'm seeing that people who are also well-traveled like myself are going to look at these opportunities also from a gig economy point of view. Does the job require me to come in full-time, to stay there full-time, or I can come in for a few months and I can do it remotely most of the time? I think most people will prefer to work in that kind of environment rather than actually relocating the whole family or themselves wholly, especially if you're a family man, to these regions. So there's definitely going to be a disruption, and the disruption is going to lead to many people migrating, yes, if they want to. But right now, the way things are going, I don't think people really want to migrate as much as they would like to. Because remember, even the migrants who are, let's say, like the Americans and the Europeans in Nigeria, or even in Kenya, they were all called back to go home.
Yep.
And that was sometime 3 weeks ago. They were told, all of you, you need to come back and work from home, because of the logistics that were going to be more difficult at a later stage, not knowing how long they were going to be kept here, and knowing that they can also have the same, even better facilities in terms of technology or internet connectivity wherever they are. It was advisable for them to be there working rather than be here. So either way, we are going to see a very huge disruption. Migration, not as much as going somewhere to settle, but for a shorter time, maybe to be inducted into your job description, and then you go back and work remotely.
Super. Please continue. I'm so sorry to ask you these questions.
No, no worries, no worries. It's a very relevant question. So there is a very big 5-star hotel in Kenya called the Tribe. Instead of it closing down completely, what they did is that they changed their whole business model in terms of, they know there are a lot of multinational companies right now in Kenya who have teams across board, and they know that these teams have to work together in a safe environment. So what they did, they changed their business model to say that you as a company, you can bring in your team to stay at the hotel for $5,500 per person per month. And so you have your accommodation and meals for the next 60 days, health screening for the guests and staff that will be able to be working with you closely. Then you have a 24-hour service of emergency, helicopter, and ambulance, and also daily entertainment and programming that will be provided for the company owners. Laundry and dry cleaning also, and a personal shopper to buy the people who are working in that space whatever they need. And also, because they have a restaurant, they will be eating their meals from the restaurants continuously, and healthy meals. So you can see that hotels that, instead of staying idle, they have decided, because they've invested so much money and so much capital in the gadgets that are available in the hotel, instead of them lying idle, let them rethink their strategy in how they are going to kind of like now run their businesses, especially in the UN or the NGO space. When you're looking also at the banking, the Standard Chartered Bank, which is a bank here in Kenya, it has at least removed a fund of $50 million to be able to help their clients or their people who bank with them across the globe, which I think it's something that we did not expect banks to do, but they are going out of their way to say, we have made money from you, how do we help you in this time of distress? And also some of their interests have been capped, and if you have a mortgage with them, they've kind of like waived it out for the next 3 months, and then after that they will also review what rate you can give, because economically everybody's been affected, because most of the companies also, or most of the businesses are now retrenching or letting their staff go on forced leave. Some is paid halfway, or some is just totally unpaid leave for the moment, because circumstances are very unstable. I'll also look at what the government here is doing in these terms of the COVID-19. What the government has done is that it has contracted our biggest alcohol producer, the East Africa Breweries, to start making sanitizers for government use. This sanitizer is distributed for free in markets and also in health centers or government buildings where people interact so much, so that they can be used at least to use the sanitizer and sanitize themselves, instead of at least waiting for the sanitizer producers, because right now the supply cannot meet demand, and we have agreed about that. And most of the ethanol that is used to produce the alcohol has now been shifted into making sanitizers. So alcohol producers have become sanitizer producers, and because they have also a very huge distribution network, they are also being used to distribute. So when you're looking at the disruption that this COVID-19 has caused, it's all around health first. Even alcohol that people used to say it's detrimental to health, now they are looking at how do we now produce health products, which are sanitizers. So I think also health is going to be a huge thing in the future. I'm also looking at YouTube traffic that has happened in 3 countries, which are the major countries in the 3 regions in Africa, which is West Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa. In East Africa, which is Kenya, the YouTube reach from February to March 2020 has been phenomenal, from 5.98 million to 7.22 million. So a lot of content is being consumed. Same thing with Nigeria, from 18.5 to 24.9 million. In South Africa, from 17.9 to 21.7 million. That means many more people, because of being like South Africa is completely under lockdown, are consuming a lot of content through YouTube. When I'm looking also at the telecoms, the big brands, they have decided to kind of like show their client base or the customers, that is we, that they'll always be there for us. So in the face of COVID-19, they have given us a lot of packages that have made our life easier. Number one being, normally when you're sending money to the hospital through a mobile payment, there's always a fee that you pay for sending, and the receiver also pays a fee for receiving, sometimes. So they've zero rated all hospital bills, and they've sending money to somebody who's not with you, probably they're up country or they're in another state or in another town, or even within the same town. They have made it for free to a certain cap, so that most people don't handle money, to prevent also the spread of COVID. And also they have doubled the data bandwidth so that more people can be able to leverage on technology or data to communicate or to work or to even worship, if it's worshiping on a Sunday. So there's double bandwidth for the amount of money that we used to get for a certain bandwidth. This is to encourage people to be able to be online more, reduce people from traveling to work. You can work from home now. We can send now money for free, which is, this is the main revenue avenue that this M-Pesa uses, but they've decided to forgo it for this time. So definitely that tells you that this COVID-19 has made big brands and also businesses and entrepreneurs to start thinking, how do I give back to my community? How do I make a difference in my community, at the same time leveraging that for my brand to grow, my brand to be seen that it was part of doing the community. And then there are also some bonga points, some points like talking points when you talk on your phone. Normally, when we used to get the bonga points, you could only buy your devices, or you could buy airtime or data. Right now, because they know that some people are not working and they've got all these accumulated bonga points, you can shop for food. So they have partnered with supermarkets. So what they do is that you can use your bonga points to buy food in the supermarket, specific supermarkets that they have partnered with. So going forward, as you can see, partnerships and partnerships are going to be a huge thing if you're thinking of transforming or surviving this period, because you cannot do it alone. You have to partner. You have to look for people who you can work together with, and each benefit, a win-win type of situation. When you're looking at supermarkets which sell food, they have decided to partner with Uber Eats, so that you can get your local food that is like the daba. Kibanda is like a daba. So it's not very high end, it's very normal food. How do you get that your normal food at that is that is home cooked, and it is tasty, and it is also very affordable to the masses out there. So we have Uber Eats have introduced a Kibanda menu that sells very local food at a very affordable price, and it can be delivered anywhere, which is something you would not see normally from before. So supermarket again, they have started using WhatsApp to order. You can use WhatsApp to order your groceries, and then it's delivered to you through a logistics company called Sendy. So lots of supermarkets have decided to start partnering with logistics companies, and also using the technology in terms of WhatsApp, because that is what is very quick and very fast and very efficient in this region, rather than saying you're going to use a platform or the website. Copia is a new organization that enables you to send stock to your people up country. Let's say your mother is in the village or your parents are in the village, you can send them their daily necessity to the village through Copia. So they have stepped up the game by even now giving free sanitizers in terms of a bottle of sanitizer, and also some soap, antiseptic soap if it's Dettol. while they're delivering your goods as a value add or their CSR to their client base. So most supermarkets are now delivering online. Groceries orders for Kenyans who shop online from this article have tripled, and the whole ordering and logistic and delivering business, especially for daily needs, vegetables, has become, it has boomed. We don't have enough people to work around it because everybody's now in the house. Nobody wants to go out. Everybody wants to at least receive their product in the house. So business, people who are doing education in business, what they are telling, they're encouraging people out there in terms of information, in terms of self-growth, is that if you don't come out of this current time with a new skill, a new side hustle that you have sat down and looked at what people are doing, you could even just be cooking your food in the house, if you're a very good cook and you're certified, and put it on Uber Eats. More knowledge in terms of all these educational platforms that are offering free trainings or free skills certifications for the month of April, especially this time. It means that you never lacked time before because everybody's got all the time to read now. What you lacked is discipline, and that is food for thought, even for us as entrepreneurs. Something to make you laugh is that you're an 80s babies. They've had it tough because they've gone through 2 economic crashes, 9/11, a Hurricane Katrina, a Trump presidency, and now a global pandemic, all before the age of 40, and they're tired. So after this pandemic, we should empathize with them and understand where they're coming from. I was trying to beat time. I hope I'm within that space of time. So what I would, what I would challenge the entrepreneurs over here is just to identify one of their competitors and note down how they are using their digital platforms in these times of COVID-19 to advertise, sell, and retain their customers. And from there, start creating your strategy, because when you piggyback on somebody's strategy that's already been tried and tested, you improve on your own and you come out bigger. I think that's the end of my presentation, because that was the next activity that I'm telling these entrepreneurs who join me. These are the partners that work with me, and I am done. Any questions?
You are super. You are super. So, I'm going to unmute all, and
So I'm stopping it here.
Yeah, I'll expect that everybody will actually, respect each other's window and ask questions one by one. So please, put a
Ma'am, please check the chat box.
Ask your question, please.
Ma'am, please check the chat box.
Yes, I'm looking at the chat box. So there is a question that says, the upcoming period, the whole world may face recession. If some small businesses, entrepreneur will tie it down with each other and make a company, I think they overcome this situation quite easily. What is your call about my thought? I think it's a brilliant thought, and I was saying partnerships and just collaborations are going to be a big thing. You can't work alone. We have to collaborate with each other because we can't do it alone. Remember, some people were saying that EdTech is going to be huge. People in EdTech are going to make a lot of money this time, but this is not the time of making money. This is the time of making your product known. People like Zoom, people who've got platforms that have content and information, were giving their platforms for free. Why? To get more traction, and also for people to use their platform and give them concrete feedback. If you're just starting, it becomes very difficult for you to say, I'm going to charge. You can't charge at this time because we are all going through a recession. If you can offer something for free for the next 3 months, I think that is a risk that you have to take in order to grow, and also for people to start putting your word out there and people to recognize you.
Next question, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Prasanna Kumar Raut over here. It was a very knowledgeable session. I would like to know one thing. We as citizens of our own country, can we support our economy, which is going through the slump right now, by buying things from our own country's owned corporates and we can go to the tourist points of our own country, so that we can support the country's own economy. And in the turn, if each and every citizens can support their own country, the whole world can go together. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea, because it has made people realize that unless you support your own, nobody else is going to come and support you. So I think it's kind of like charity starts at home situation, because you have to sell your story for other people to come and want to see that story. And that is what is happening right now. And as you know, tourism and traveling, that is air travel, is going to be seriously affected after this phase. And I don't think many people would want to travel as much unless it's necessary. They would rather have the conference call. And my thinking is that even if somebody wanted to travel for business or for leisure, it's going to be the rich people, and they are going to go with their own private jet. So something like first class is not going to even motivate them to travel anymore. So we have to start supporting our own. I think in Africa, we have come to realize, like, this COVID-19 has hit us on the face with a big punch, because everything that we consume comes either from China or India, abroad, from medicine and everything. Our governments, our leaders have neglected improving
Home production.
improving structures here. And now it's quite glaring that we need to start producing, and we need to start supporting ourselves before we rely so much on what's coming up from outside.
You know what? I have been asking.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I have a statement to make before I go for the next question. I have I'll make the statement within 30 seconds. I'll not take much time. So like I've been asking so many startups in India that bring me some product which can actually solve human needs, and I have got the market for the same. I mean, you don't have to think out of the box. You don't need anything AI, anything something which is a drone or something like that. Just think of something which solves very simple problem and which can actually attract normal user base. If that can be done in each and every country, that solves everything. Transaction will happen, traveling will happen, maybe due course of time. Certainly exchange policies will be updated very soon. There are a lot of things which is going to change. Okay, so over to you guys. Like, I'm not the questionnaire at the moment, so please shoot your questions. We have 6-7 minutes left only. Okay, so I think there is a question in the chat box. No?
No.
Anyone wants to ask her any question? Gaurav?
Hello, sir.
Hi. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Your question.
Gaurav Sarangi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine. And yourself?
I'm also doing well. Actually, ma'am, I want to ask you that as the situation is getting worse day by day, so which type of business means in future, which type of business will be the best for launch or anything?
I think that is what the disruption has caused. I think people in technology will never fail. Anything that has a tech component or a tech element coming out of it will always be there. So this is kind of like the new world order, where if you're making probably automated plants to manufacture something, that would stick, because we realized with people being locked up or people being sick, as I said, there's going to be like a few positions that are going to be open. There are no people to create. So automation is going to be huge. EdTech is going to be huge. Remote working is going to be huge. Anything technology for now. I can't say agriculture. Value add in terms of people who plant. How do you preserve those foods so that they could be consumed, whether in powder form? Value add in terms of processing agricultural products is also going to be huge.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Super. Anyone wants to ask any more question? Abhishek.
So I have a question in chat box. So can you please look?
Yeah, sure. Abhishek got a question in chat box. So after emerge out of pandemic crisis, which corporation will play a big role in overcoming economic crisis? Wow. Over to you, Celestine.
Which corporation will, wow. I think the telecommunication, because if we can't communicate, how do we know opportunities exist? So it comes down to that technology, data, big data, fintech, the telecommunication for me. That's my gut feeling.
Okay, thank you.
Two more questions, please. Excuse me, two more questions, please. Last two questions, if you have.
Hi, this is Pinaki here.
Yeah,
It was a really nice session. Really, interacting session. Actually, I'm into edutech. So, like, what do you feel like after this, during this COVID or after this COVID? How there are two industries. I know I'm looking forward to a lot of change. One is health, and this is education, health and edutech. I would say. So, how do you see this two industries shaping itself? That's point one. And suppose someone how about international collaboration in terms of technology support from a country and giving support to another country. So like how do you feel this thing's going to work shape in next couple of months maybe?
I think these two areas are going to be very huge in terms of education, in terms of skills. Skills for the fourth industrial. Skills that for people who will be working probably in the gig economy, people who can program themselves. I have 3 jobs or 3 projects that I'm working on, and I want to deliver in all of them. So skills development in terms of EdTech is going to be huge. And there's going to be a lot of collaborations about that. I know the UN has a project called Educate All, which is huge. It's got a platform that works both online and offline.
Yep.
On a mobile, on mobile and also on laptop. And what they are doing is that they are putting a lot of content online for people to be able to access. It was mainly supposed to be for refugees and for entrepreneurs and business owners.